Welcome to a presentation on Iowa marriage records brought to you by the Iowa Genealogical Society. If you have ancestors who married in Iowa, you are very fortunate for several reasons. First, because marriages were always recorded, and then because beginning in 1880, the records have detailed information about the parties and their parents, and lastly, because the records are now available online, some in abstract form and others with the actual image. Today we'll talk about the history of the records, access to the records, what you find in the records, and where you can find them. In Iowa, vital records, the birth, death, and marriage records, are recorded first on the county level. As soon as the county was created, it began to record marriages. Those very early marriages may be mingled in with other court records, but eventually separate books for marriage records were kept. And if your family were very early settlers in your county, remember that they may have been there before the county was formally organized, and their records may be in the parent county a little further east. For example, if your family was in Lynn County early on, know that it was originally part of Dubuque County and then Jackson County, so any marriage records prior to 1840 will be in one of those other counties. The wonderful thing is that on July 1st, 1880, the state became involved in the recording of vital records. So starting then, copies were sent to the state registrar, and even better, the records started to include more information. More on that later. So you have records at the county courthouse as well as records at the state level. One hitch is that from 1921 to 1941, the state passed a law saying that the counties were not allowed to keep a copy of the records that they were sending on to the state. Some counties complied and have no copies of records for that period. Others continue to keep their own copy. Currently, marriage records are kept by the county recorder's office. Under Iowa state law, the records at the county level are open to public inspection. You may have some difficulty with the recorder's office, but a recent lawsuit should have solved that problem. The recorder may issue a non-certified copy to anyone requesting it. Most charge $5 for this. You may also request a certified copy if you are what is called an entitled person for a fee of $20. On the state level, remember that they only have marriage records beginning July 1st, 1880. Their records are closed for 75 years unless you are what we called an entitled person, and they only issue certified copies for $20. The good news is that after 75 years, the Iowa State Archives has custody of those records, and they have been working with Ancestry.com and FamilySearch.org to digitize the records and make them available online. What do you find in the records? Early records may only have the bride and groom's names and the date of the marriage. You may also find the name of the person officiating at the marriage. Beginning in 1880, you have a gold mine of information. It gives the birthplaces of the bride and the groom, their ages, if they have been married before, the names of the parents, including the mother's maiden name, the names of the witnesses, the name of the officiant. Two comments. At the county level, you may find two separate books, one titled Marriage Record and the other titled Marriage Register. The record book reports that the marriage took place, the date, the parties, the officiant. The register book has the detailed information from the application, the birthplace, the parents, so forth and so on. The other comment is that sometimes the information that the county kept after 1880 may not be as detailed as the information they sent on to the state. Where do you find the records? There are abstracts in book form for almost every county at the Iowa Genealogical Society Library, the State Historical Library, and local Genealogical Society libraries. But you always want to look at the image for the original record for more information. All of the early records for all 99 Iowa counties have been microfilmed by what was then the Utah Genealogical Society, now FamilySearch.org. The microfilm is available at the IGS Library and the Iowa State Historical Library. The films can also be ordered from the Family History Library in Salt Lake City through FamilySearch.org. The films will begin with the earliest record in that county and end at various years. It depends on the county. Online, you will find abstracts of the information that is on that microfilm for those early county records at FamilySearch.org. You will not see the actual images, but you will see most of the information from the records. It's searchable by bride, groom, and parents' names. Once you find the marriage in this database, you will want to look at the original record for other information that may not have been included in the abstract. Remember, pre-July 1st, 1880 marriages are only found in the county records, so this is where you want to search for those. You will find other later marriages, but again, only abstracted information, not the images. Notice that there are two databases for marriages at FamilySearch.org. Be sure to look at both of them. Here's what you'll see for a pre-July 1st, 1880 record on FamilySearch.org. And this is what you'll find in a post-June 30th, 1880 marriage record on FamilySearch.org. Notice all the extra information, the parents of both the bride and the groom, the birthplaces of the bride and the groom. The good news is that in cooperation with the Iowa State Archives, Ancestry.com has the images for all of the state copies of marriage records starting July 1st, 1880 through 1937. They are working on the 1938 to 1940 marriages and plan to have them online in 2017. These records can be searched by the names of the bride, the groom, the parents, by location. All the normal ancestry search parameters apply. From personal experience, I can tell you that the indexes on Ancestry are incomplete. You may need to find the information on FamilySearch.org and then browse the county records on Ancestry.com to see the actual image. The earlier records are in book form. Here's an example of the full book. And here's an enlarged version showing the first page, which has the groom's information, and the second page, which has the bride's information, as well as the witnesses and the officiant's name and the dates. Later records have one image per event. As long as you remember that the magic date is July 1st, 1880, and know that marriages before that date are only to be found in county records, and that marriage as after that date will be found on the state level as well as on the county. With some exceptions, you'll be fine. We hope this will help you find your family and the treasure that is an Iowa marriage record. Remember, the Iowa Genealogical Society has the answers to your family history questions.